I'm back from my surgery. I'm in recovery. I'm in deep meditation, trying to review everything I experienced during that surgery. For those of you who don't understand what surgeries do, it puts the soul in a sunken, deep state where they can connect to the other side in a more profound way. Surgeries don't just happen. They are place markers in time. Surgeries give the chance for a meeting where you're in a crossroads with your life here on earth. Perhaps you are lost or confused, don't know where to go next, or you just started something new, a new path, a new experience, and you are trying to figure it out, and you're stumbling upon yourself. This is a chance meeting or experience for your soul to grasp some further instructions so that the body can use that as a compass in the direction it needs to go next. So they say things come in threes. So there was Maxie, then there was my shop closing, and I was starting on a new path. But within this tricorder of things taking place, the surgery was right in front of me. I just wasn't seeing it yet. So right in the middle of closing my shop, I mean literally in the middle of it, I bled out and I was rushed to the hospital. I was told that I passed out in the car on the way there. I do remember bleeding out in bed and then running to the bathroom to try to recover from that and change myself. But there was so much blood loss, I began to become extremely dizzy, lightheaded, and started throwing up. So it hit me pretty hard. I've had this issue for close to 2 years. This is the worst it's ever been. It was like it was heightened and accelerated for some purpose. And I didn't see it at the time. I couldn't understand why this was all happening all at once. And then I just kind of assumed it might have been stress from closing the shop, but then again, I didn't feel any stress. I was feeling peace. I was feeling excitement. It's weird, right? When you close down something that you work so hard for, why feel such excitement? I would think that there would be more sorrow and pain there, but there just wasn't. It felt authentic, if I can use that word towards that. It felt raw and authentic, that I was actually accepting letting go so that I can make room for something much better to come along. It felt complete, like I had finished a cycle and I was just starting a new one. Like as if it was laundry, you know? All the dirty clothes were clean and I bought new clothes to try on. I'm rambling. Anyway, I have yet to discuss why I closed my shop. I want to get into that first so that you can better understand why this surgery suddenly happened in the middle of doing all of that. So when Maxie finally did pass, we just lost him last month, I decided to go back to work, to go back to the shop. Someone had purchased a soul transformation, a one-on-one 3-day with me. And the day I was to go back into the shop after not being there for months, I had set my alarm to go in early to set up the spa because I hadn't been there in such a long time. I wanted to get the energy going, make sure everything was kosher, calm, peaceful, ready, energized for her arrival to start this new journey for her of transformation. So I set my alarm and it didn't go off. And I woke to a ton of messages. Did he get you? Are you okay? Are you in the hospital? Did something happen? You're not answering. When everybody knew and expected me to be in early and I wasn't answering my phone, they thought something happened to me. I called Amber. She said, you need to get down here. something happened in the spa, you need to get down here. I rushed down to find SWAT team, military, detectives. The place was swarming with law enforcement. And I go into my shop and there's detectives in there. A gunman had shot someone outside of the shop and then made his way into my spa to hide from police. I had just missed him by a few minutes. So had my alarm went off, I would have been in the spa when he broke in to hide from police. The damage was done by this point. I've got his energy, I've got law enforcement, police, detectives, military, SWAT, all through my shop and spa, and the place did not feel the same anymore to me. I remember sitting on the couch looking out the window at all the SWAT team kind of gathering in a circle talking. I just felt like the path with the shop was complete and done. I was done. I knew it 2 years beforehand. I sensed that the path with the shop was coming to a close, but I didn't want to listen because I had put so much work into that path. So much hard work, so much money, so much time away from family, away from Justin, away from Maxie. I didn't want to give it up so easily, you know? Sometimes you just hold too tight and then it just becomes tainted or corrupt or not the same anymore. I believe in that moment I felt like I was being forced, my hand was being forced to let go of the shop and start moving in a different direction. And the funny thing is, me and Evelyn, she's part of my team, we were starting to talk about building a new spa, not a crystal shop, but a spa. I find this very interesting because we started talking about it months before this took place at the shop. After this took place at the shop, I just embraced this new path. I wasn't fearful, scared, worried. It actually felt like a weight was lifted, as if somebody cut the cords to a backpack that had been so heavy on me. And I was getting like a little kid on Christmas. I was so excited to start this new path and what was it going to bring and what were we going to do. And the experience I had during the surgery just amplified everything tenfold. I feel different. After the hospital visit, I was told to see the OB, but they couldn't get me in for a month to see my OB, who knows what I've been going through for the last 2 years. The doctor surgeon that she had been correlating my case with would not touch me with surgery. He kept saying I needed other options to cross off first before we went in and started taking things out or doing things there. When I begged them to get me in because I needed to be seen, I was still gushing and hemorrhaging blood clots nonstop. This was going on for like a week. They just would not get me in. When she saw me and she saw my case, she's like, you should have been in surgery a year ago. No, we're getting you in this Friday. And it was like that Monday I went to the ER. It was the following Monday I saw her. And she got me into surgery that Friday, which was just this past Friday. She kept calling it a high-risk surgery because if she were to nick me in the slightest way, I could bleed out and there could be no recovery from it. So I had to sign a bunch of blood transfusion paperwork. You want a DNR to, like make sure your family knows what you want. Like it was a lot in one sitting for an hour to kind of embrace. After being told I was going to go into surgery, I was doing a lot of contemplating, discussing this with Maria, and I felt a sense of calm. I wasn't really worried because either way I would be fine, whether I came back, whether I stayed on the other side, because surgeries give us a chance to make decisions as well. And sometimes that decision is a final one where you don't return back to earth. That's where God gives you your free will of decision. But most of the time, they want you to finish out. Usually the surgery is just a meeting to go over and discuss options and paths and things that are available to your soul while it's in a human body learning from a human experience. But sometimes the soul is just so tired and just does not want to go on doing that specific experience and wants a break. It wants to go on vacation. It wants to retire. So the day of the surgery, I was getting all kinds of signs. What threw me, and I was laughing, was I saw this white car in front of me. It had doggy bone brakes. The brake lights were shaped like doggy bones. I'm like, okay, Maxie, what? And then on the license plate, the first letter was a big M. And I'm like, that's Maxie. And then I kind of looked a little bit further, and there was a 7. And that's me and Justin's favorite number together. And he was in the car with me, and I'm talking about this with him. He kind of chuckled and was just like, when have you ever seen doggy bone shaped brake lights on a car? Like, that is just one in a million. Like, I've never seen that. I don't think anybody's ever seen that. Thank God I caught it on camera. As I was getting prepared for my surgery in the room that they gave me, the desk was shaped like a Jesus fish. The curtains looked like portals you had to choose to go into. It was just, everything was just coming together. The nurse that was doing my IV, which I'm still bruised on my hand, she was wearing all pink. I said, that's so funny you're wearing those shades of pink, because I'm starting a new branding for my crystal shop, and those are the same colors I've been contemplating. And she's like, I don't like pink. I don't really know why I wore pink today. I don't normally wear pink. The nurse that was taking care of me, Lori, she said she was meant to be here today. She wasn't supposed to work today, and she obviously is meant to be here today to show you that. But as I was going through the pictures to kind of post about the doggy breaks, I noticed where I took the picture from. It was the exact spot. I couldn't have done it more divinely. I took the picture exactly in the same spot where my car accident was to take me to the other side. I don't know if some of you recall, I did a live feed. I had said to everyone, I will be in a car accident, be within 6 months' time. I will leave the way I came in, through a car accident. Because my arrival, my consciousness arrival, came through a car accident, and I was to leave in the same manner. But in the last few seconds, again, this is all a cosmic meeting, I decided to stay. My car was to be hit from behind very hard and pushed out into a semi-truck. Last minute, I turned my car ever so slightly and went that way instead of that way. So I didn't get hit. I lived. This picture that I took of the doggy brakes car, she was in the same position my car was in before it got hit at that light. It was the exact spot my car was in. I was taken back, and I was like, I'm back in the same position I was before. I have a decision to make. It hit me right then and there. I have a decision to make. Just like the day my car was to be hit. And I said to myself, I'm going to choose again. I'm going to choose to stay. I'm going to choose to stay, but I need something to go off of. Because the last time this happened, I felt lost and I didn't know what to do next with my mission. I need something to compass me to the tethered roots of Earth and give me purpose. True, authentic purpose. I need something. And that was my request before I went under surgery. And that's exactly what they gave me. They gave me purpose. My experience when I drifted off, I don't really remember when I drifted off. I remember they gave me something in my IV, and I started feeling very tired, very light, as if I was like being lifted up and out of the room in a sense. And the last thing I remember is the bed being wheeled out, and I crossed. It's so funny. It's just hitting me now that the curtains were a bunch of portals. To me, they look like a bunch of circles that were portals that you got to choose from. And the last memory I have is that curtain passing the bed. And then I don't remember anything after that. I don't remember the operating room. I don't remember going there. I don't remember anything from that point on. I found myself walking through the best way I can describe it is if somebody took rocks and cement and put it into a tunnel. And it seemed to be like sloping down a little bit. I started to run because I was hearing church bells and I was trying to figure out where they were at. My viewpoint went from running to all of a sudden I saw down by my feet and I ran over a puddle. But my foot was on top of the puddle. It didn't go in the puddle like it would have here on earth. And I was looking at it from a viewpoint as if it was a glass window and I saw my foot. And then the next thing I know, I'm back running again. And I thought that was very interesting that was a viewpoint that I was given. I couldn't understand it at the time, why I saw that, why my viewpoint had changed as if I was below myself looking up, to show me that my foot hovered rather than submerged. So I kept running and I got closer to the church bells and there was lots of people gathering and I don't want to say chanting, but derogatory comments. Some were somber, some were crying. I couldn't understand what's going on. Why is everybody acting this way? So I kind of pushed through the crowd, and the crowd, it felt like they didn't know I was there. It was like I was merging through them as if I was a ghost. It was so smooth, like whipped cream or pudding. There was like a substance that I could feel, but I could still smoothly get past everybody. I didn't have to like say excuse me or push my way through. I was going through them, but I was still going through a energy substance. And when I finally got to the end of where all this gathering was taking place, I looked up and saw myself, but in another time. I had immediately realized that I had dropped my soul into the timeline when I was Queen Anne Boleyn and I was about to be beheaded. I quickly understood why everybody was acting the way they were. And I didn't understand why I was standing in this moment. I've gone on repeat mentally with this. It's constantly in my mind. When you have something happen in your life, you sometimes feel like you could probably change outcomes or maybe aspects to events. Like you wish that you could have done something different. And I think I go back to that moment right before I'm beheaded as if maybe I could have changed something. But deep down, the only person you can change is yourself. You can't change the people around you. And that was the hardest concept I had to hold on to, is that I could not change him. I could not change who he was. I couldn't change who he was about to become. All I had to do was work on myself and change myself. But I didn't do that. I was so fixated on fixing the situation, fixing him, without going into too much depth into that lifetime. I understood why my soul dropped there and why, in a way, I felt like I had given up on my life and why I didn't try harder on myself. I could have easily left. I could have easily not made it as hard on myself. But I find that we tend to do that in this earthly experience. We tend to make things harder on ourselves. Why do we do that? I don't really know why we do that. Maybe because we feel like we're undeserving of easy things, maybe. Sorry, I had to redo my recording. It stopped suddenly on me. After I was dropped into that lifetime and was trying to understand why I was standing there reviewing it once again, I was suddenly taken to what looked like a burnt brown and black void. And I'm kind of looking around and I didn't feel any emotion of normally like a person would feel scared in the dark in that way or worried in some sense. I felt more at ease, as if I was about to experience someone or something. So I was just kind of patiently waiting for the aspects of this area to alter and align to that anticipation. I encountered someone that I haven't physically met in this lifetime, but I have experienced through spiritual communication. I immediately knew that my soul understood who he was, even though I didn't get to have a lifetime with him here in this lifetime. I wrote everything down so that I wouldn't forget everything that I had experienced with him. This young man took his own life. And I was trying to correlate where I was just at with where I was now. And I felt like I had given up my life, just as he did, but in a different way. I might not have physically ended my life, but I gave up on it to the point others did it for me. I felt very profound connection to that essence of realization with him. And we kind of bonded very quickly over that understanding. I felt the point of his arrival to this exact experience was to show what suicide or giving up truly means, in the sense of love energy and what that combines all that together like glue or concrete, kind of like the tunnel I was running through. Pieces of the rocks were experiences glued together, weaved together in a full pattern of experience for one soul. That tunnel kind of represented all the lifetimes and all the experiences being cemented together, because it has a whole purpose, the tunnel being a wholeness to those growths and learning spurts, and like a child stumbling and falling, getting back up. You might have scraped your knee on the cement of rocks, but there's a light at the end as to why those scrapes and bruises take place, and why the end of the tunnel and going towards the sound frequency of the bells, the sound of God, his frequency, and seeing the light at the end, you have a realization and an understanding that all of it isn't for nothing, but it is also nothing. There's no human words to describe what I mean by that. It's all an illusion. It all has meaning, but it all has nothing to that meaning. I know I'm stumbling on my words because it's hard to explain what I mean by it all. It has meaning, but the meaning is nothing unless you understand what the meaning holds. It's not about a meaning in a sense as it is about what it is, who it is, where it is. It's meaningless. All of it is meaningless. Because we make things complicated when it needs to be very simple. It's just so very simple. Maybe one day I will work out my words with what I mean with all this. And maybe your soul already resonates and understands what I mean. And I don't need to explain further. Some of you are probably sitting there thinking, what in the heck is she talking about? It's hard, it's really difficult to put human limits to something so grand and great. So I want to go back to the young man. His purpose in showing himself to me was an energy field of love, but it was a concept of love towards someone specific, and it was his mother. All around me, again, was this burnt brown black void. There was nothing below me, nothing above me, but it gave off a burnt brown black hue. And I wasn't afraid like I would have if I was human, because I am terrified of heights. And I was standing in void, in a voidness, an empty nothing. And it didn't scare me. There was definitely a presence of higher authority within me that kept me still and at peace as I was standing there. But then I looked, and all of a sudden it was as if everything was fuzzy in front of me but came into light. Maybe this is why my recording stopped and I'm getting this background, because this is what it looked like. It was fuzzy and then it came into focus. Just like this. And I saw this young man, and he was standing on top, not submerged in. It looked like a gathering pool of water around his feet, but it went out maybe 5 or 6 inches. I instantly knew that the water he was standing upon, as if he was standing on water like Jesus, that they were her tears gathering in a pool around his feet. I knew these were tears of just losing him. They weren't of anything else. It was just strictly regenerating from him, losing him. And it was this cycle of just pulling and pulling and pulling. He stood there like Jesus would on water. No fear, only faith, only commitment, focus. There was a bright light that kind of nuzzled around his feet, as if it was emanating directly from his core source of vibration, or whatever frequency he was vibrating at. My eyes were just kind of like a cat's eyes. I was able to like zoom in and zoom out. I kept getting pulled closer to the water. I wanted to see the water. And as I zoomed into the water, it looked like as if you put a speaker underwater. It was doing like these vibrational bouncy particles that you really had to zoom in and look, because if you were standing too far away, you couldn't notice how detailed, that's the word I get, detailed this frequency was taking place. A vibration that a human can sense with their metaphysical understanding. That is the vibration. If you are a human and you are trying to understand frequency, it's not a touch, it's not a feel, it's a sense. I knew she could sense him standing within the pooling of her tears. She could sense the second she became sad that he was within that emotion. He wasn't the emotion, he was within the emotion. This light that was integrated to him kind of reminded me of a tree with very strong, deep roots. His energy of light, just as if maybe you took a piece of thread and just thread it through liquid. In heaven, it's possible to attach matter to liquid, whereas here it falters through. It fails, right? But nothing in heaven fails. Not even a suicide. It's not considered failure. It's not considered faltered. It's not considered sin. I asked him with my conscious mind why he was doing this specific action, and the answer immediately, like instantly, came to my consciousness back at me. So she will feel me through her sorrow. And I knew that. Even before I even had to ask it. It's like I knew it before I asked it. It was a concept of completely understanding one soul to another. I remember him being so very beautiful. His hair was very healthy and glowy, and it looked like his hair was in water, like a mermaid almost. It was the coolest thing. It was as if a light had come into the void somehow and bounced off his hair, and I caught a glimpse of sparkles and this like caramel chunk of sparkleness. When that happened, the light didn't hit his face, but it was almost like his eyes lit up in gold. I'm like getting chills because it just takes me back to that feeling of like, I was like, wow, that was intense and beautiful. His soul was coming through his physical, and his soul was this bright caramel gold bronze color, and his eyes lit up the second I noticed his hair, and then they went back to his normal human color of brightness. It would have been like a human form color, but on a brighter note. I know that we don't have bodies in heaven. Our bodies are human made, earthly made. We don't take them with us to cross over. This metaphor he was giving me was to paint a picture for his mother, to give the message that I needed to give on her consciousness understanding of what that message would be. I fully understood that there was no sadness here in this void, but rather an energy being understood, a concept of action in a way that he could help her. I felt he never left her. He hasn't left her. He stands within. He even said to me, I love her beyond death. I love her beyond realms of time. And for him to place his energy in this concept, I can't even humanly portray how powerful that is. It's as if God gathers our sadness and tears and awaits within while assisting us through. That's exactly what this young man was doing. He was doing an action that God would do. And if we are made of God energy, it would make sense that he would do like God or be like God. He remains standing within, helping and assisting her. He will stand there until a new experience takes place. Whether that new experience is something she experiences on Earth or crossing over is the new experience. I wasn't privy to that information. It was just, I will stand within until she is ready. He was trying to explain through energy this message that nothing happens without the highest approval and the highest allowance of something happening. What he means by this is suicides and suicidal actions or giving up a life. Suicides are reassignment souls. They're referred to as reassignment souls. He showed me the events that led up to his departure and why they happened in the sequential order that they did, in the manner that he did. Suicidal events are placeholders in time. These events are placeholders. They are imprinted events that take place in time. And I didn't understand this method right away until he reached out his hand and I touched it. And as I touched it, the second that I did that motion, his hand lit up and I was transcended to every moment placement. I needed to grasp hold onto moments within placement of time, placements from the very beginning of time to the very end, that heaven and earth will depart and pass away, but his words will remain eternal. His essence and frequency of word, his consciousness, his thoughts, his words remain eternal and will live through the fragments of what was once, or what once was. And what comes after will derive from his words and start a new succession of moments in time within that creation. He is and forever will be that which remains. Take a moment to try to align your mind to what that means. Because when I came back in my human body, it took me a while to fully understand the concept of what that actually was. When people say you must be reborn within a religion, I fully understood that they have no idea what that even means. Can you see the wind? You can feel it. You can probably hear it, but can you see it? Do you know where it's going? Do you know where it came from? Do you know where it's heading? In metaphysical, unseen form. Being reborn is the concept of coming into the human ego, being downloaded with the human ego from your parents, your loved ones, your relatives, your friends, being programmed through their own perceptions, opinions, ego. Being reborn is not a religion. Being reborn is the consciousness, understanding the soul and the spirit through metaphysical, unseen form, and having no restraint or holdback to that understanding. I kind of chuckled when I came back and understood this concept fully, because you have all these religions talking about being reborn, but they're not reborn. They are continuing to do everything they used to do before. They may pretend to be something different, but to be reborn is a complete rehaul, change, transformation of who you were to who you will become through the concept of spirit consciousness and the creation of Christ understanding. It's not Christ coming back physically to save us once again. It's the Christ consciousness being reborn from the time he came the first time. It was lost through time, and it's being reborn as energy, as a vibration, as a metaphysical feeling, a sense. There's so much more to this experience. I don't know if I should do these videos in sections, because I feel like this video alone is a lot to take in and handle, and maybe perhaps that's what I'll do. So I will, in a sense, leave you with this for now, but I have so much more to share. I am forever changed. I am forever different. And I'm grateful to be back because I know my gifts will heal and change who you are and who you will become within that reborn energy. I can't even explain to you what gifts are. I feel like that might be another video, but they're not what you think they are. They're not just gifts. Every one of you has something specific that is imprinted in your sound of your soul. Your soul is a sound. It's a vibration of energy that is sensed and felt through each other's soul. I understood gifts as, in the physical sense, maybe something that could be used or utilized in some way to help someone else or to help yourself. Maybe you're very good at lottery. Maybe you're very good at listening and people just dump all of their problems on you. They're not in a physical sense to be utilized, but adapted and remembered, for you've always had them. You're just not accessing them, and your frequency must align to them for them to be used. And I don't even like using the word used, to be aligned properly in your life and in others' lives. I understood that I was using my gifts all wrong. Not wrong in the sense that I was making mistakes, because everything I did with my gifts was helping. But I wasn't aligning them to their fullest capacity. And I'm understanding now how to align them in a whole new way. I, through this experience, had revisited several of my lifetimes while visiting loved ones on the other side that had messages. I understood certain aspects of each life and why I retained the memories and knowledge that I did, and why I went on those journeys, why I chose those specific lives and those specific people to be around and those specific experiences, why they made me who I am. But at one point, it all came back to my lifetime with Jesus and watching him heal. I would watch him. He could go for hours. He would never turn anyone away. But they had to come to him. They had to come through him through faith. They had to come through him. Not so much to him, but through him. They had to come through him, as if being mixed in as an ingredient, a part of him. As if you were cooking something amazing for your family and he was part of the biggest ingredient and you were being placed in with that ingredient. That's the only adaptation I can think of to apply to what I'm trying to convey. You have to go through him to align to what you are, who you are, and what you can do. The specific frequencies of who you are, to have those parts of you become activated. He was so very tired after doing healings. I get exhausted after doing just 3. Could you imagine doing 200, 300? It's exhausting. And I watched him become exhausted, but he never stopped. He never turned anyone away. That's where I'm at. I don't want to turn anyone away. They're being brought to me for a reason, just like they were being brought to him for a reason. God sent them to him, just as I'm being sent people. Or I'm being placed in front of someone. And if they take the faith and they work through him to gain the healing or message that I provide through Him. So I'm not doing this myself. It is Him working through me. I can't heal eyesight without Him. I cannot heal cancer without Him. I cannot heal someone that cannot walk without Him. And I've done all of those. And it didn't hit me till after this experience what actually was happening. I took it for granted. I didn't see the blessing and the depth of it, that I am able to align myself to what He did when He was here, which is why He said, one day you will be able to do exactly what I've done. And that is a blessing, to be able to have that ability and align to it so perfectly and precisely. There's no category, it just is and will forever be. Going back into those past lives and experiencing my life with Jesus all over again has brought me back from that surgery in a whole new way. I had forgotten a lot. I feel I understood purpose, I understood mission when I arrived here in 2009. And the longer I'm here in a human form, a lot of that gets lost in translation, and I start to lose the effect of my soul and what it's here to do. I knew things needed to change when I came back from that surgery. I understood Jesus had a following. He had specific people in place that had specific purpose to the whole, because He's right. It's not about convincing. It's not about changing. It's about planting seeds. So in the future, centuries, whatever, years beyond, the seedling, the planting of the seeds, the vibrations will be understood and felt. It's not about convincing or changing now. It's planting seeds so that those beyond may benefit and be healed by it all. I was so focused on what I need to do now. All the stuff I need to do now. Like I felt like I was being rushed. I felt like I needed to do things now. And I do, but not in the sense that I originally thought. And I feel like many of you are doing the same thing. It's about planting vibration. Individuals can learn and take it beyond that, like a domino effect, where one vibration is vibrating, others will feel that vibration and their vibration will be affected and altered and aligned, and so on and so forth, and they will affect others and their vibration. When I came back, I understood the pivotal people that have been placed in my life. I have stepped aside from a few because I understood my mission was more important than having to fix who they are. Because again, it's not about fixing who they are, it's about fixing yourself to align to that. Because you cannot, again, you've heard this saying before, you cannot make a dog drink water, or you can't make a person come to the water and drink. It's very true. You see a perspective of who they can become, and you know certain things about their future, and when you discuss these things and they still can't see it, you can't make them see it. All you can do is help them understand it, and eventually that vibration seed being planted will reverberate out, and eventually they will understand in that moment of time what you meant. I can't go back and change or alter things I've done, or how I approached or handled certain things. I can become more of my authentic soul and choose from that. It's almost like I had been asleep for a while. I had been lost in Earth's metaphors of illusion, and I'm waking up to where I need to go next. And I feel that happened with the accident. When I decided to stay, I didn't bring anything back with me. And for some reason, this time with this surgery, I had all my ducks in order. I made sure of it so that when I did come back, I knew what I needed to do. And I'm very excited about it. And the sad part is, and again, this world, you cannot live here without money. So yes, I will have to continue parts of my branding through that concept, even though I hate it. If I could get rid of money altogether, I would, because I'd rather do everything and give away everything for free. To live here and not suffer through being poor because everything is money and you can't obtain anything without it. I must continue that human experience, but I will be doing it in my own authentic way. That's how I will handle it from this point on. There is much more to my experience with the surgery, but I feel that's for a later time. It's for a later discussion, and I look forward to that. But for right now, I feel that these little mini video messages hold a certain vibration, and when you understand the message and you understand the concept of what I'm trying to convey from those spiritual experiences with my soul on the other side, you will be able to elevate and align your frequency to that message's understanding and adapt it so that you are equipped to adjust your frequency to the next video. That's how I feel like I need to handle this, because everything I obtained and was able to retain while coming back without the amnesia veil ruining it all for me, I am able to bring these to you. But I need to do it in a vibrational, timely manner so it's more accepted, more accepting. And for those of you who are going to ask, did I get to see Maxie? Yes, I did. I do remember waking up and being upset that I couldn't bring him. I know it's hard to explain. For some reason, I thought I had it in my spiritual concept of consciousness that I could bring him with me. But no. And so my physical self became very aggravated and upset that I couldn't. And I think I was still in that medicated state where it wasn't making sense as to why I couldn't. Yeah, that's for another video. I was on the other side for centuries. I attained a lot of wisdom and knowledge. But again, all of that knowledge needs to be poured out into the cup to be fulfilled and drank in a slow manner. Like Jesus, I want to fill your cup with this knowledge, but we need to do it in a very precise way so that it's obtainable and adjustable to your frequency of understanding it all. Because it's quite a bit. It can get confusing if you're not at the frequency of understanding it. So I will leave you with that, and I will see you soon.